I'm not the all caps name. Of course.
None of that is valid. None of that is law. You are standing in my courtroom. I have jurisdiction. What's your name?
I'm here representing Brian Musgrove.
You're Brian Musgrove?
Before this hearing even gets started, things spiral fast. A defendant walks into court rejecting the law, rejecting the system, Evan, rejecting his own identity. But the judge shuts it down instantly. What follows is a tense clash between courtroom reality and dangerous misconceptions. With serious prison time on the line, the real question is, does he even realize how bad this is about to get?
Here representing.
I have no idea what that means, so why don't you come up to the podium?
I tried to.
Nope, yeah, stand in front of the thing. So what is your name?
Brian Joseph Musgrove.
Okay, are you an attorney? What's your P number?
I'm not an attorney.
So then you can't represent Brian Musgrove. So you are a defendant, correct?
I'm an executor on that estate.
Okay, so none of that is valid or legal. So you have an attorney?
He's not doing nothing for me.
Okay, that was my question. Do you have an attorney, yes or no?
I have, yeah, he was supposed to be representing me, but.
So you have Michael Dagger-Margosian. Okay, so he's your attorney. Okay, so go have a seat when Mr. Dagger-Margosian.
Right here, the judge immediately shuts down what's commonly known as sovereign citizen arguments. These claims that someone can avoid the law by rejecting their legal identity have been thrown out by courts again and again. They have zero legal standing. But instead of focusing on his charges, he's stuck on this idea, and that's where things start getting risky. Do you think he actually believes this will work?
All right, so Mr. Musgrove, you want to come up to the podium, please? This is in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Brian Joseph Musgrove, file number 23-21461FH. I have Isaac Sneed appearing on behalf of the people, and I have Michael Dagger-Margosian appearing on behalf of Mr. Musgrove. Mr. Dagger-Margosian might, oh, there he is. So, Mr. Dagger-Margosian, this is a date and time set for pre-trial in this matter. Mr. Musgrove said that he was appearing on his own behalf. I did verify he is not an attorney, and you are still the attorney of record. So, Mr. Dagger-Margosian, how do you wish to proceed?
Well, Your Honor, I am aware that Mr. Musgrove wants to.
This is a critical moment. Yes, legally, you can represent yourself, but in serious felony cases, that's almost always a terrible idea. His attorney even offers to stay as backup, which is a huge safety net. But instead of leaning on experience, he's leaning into risky arguments. And when your freedom is on the line, that's not just bold, it can be dangerous. What would you do in this situation?
Present information to the court. I'm happy to be standby counsel if he wants to represent himself. Obviously, this court would have to go through the colloquy of that, but obviously it's Mr. Musgrove's legal right to at least ask the court to do that. So I'm here to observe at this point.
All right. So, Mr. Musgrove, when you were at the bench or up at the podium before, you said that you were appearing on behalf of yourself. So, Mr. Musgrove, are you asking to no longer have counsel represent you?
Well, what I'm understanding is that the court is a private for-profit.
So, Mr. Musgrove, I know where you're going with this, and none of that is valid. None of that is law.
And there it is, again the same argument, instantly rejected. The judge doesn't even entertain it. That's because legally, it means nothing. But notice her approach. She's not just dismissing him. She's trying to pull him back to reality before he damages his own case any further. At this point, this isn't a debate anymore. It's damage control.
I'm not the all caps name. Of course.
None of that is valid. None of that is law. You are standing in my courtroom. I have jurisdiction over you. So
I tried to file paperwork with the clerk's office ahead of time so that you would have time to review it, and they denied me.
I know what you're talking about. None of that is valid under the law of the state of Michigan or the Constitution of the United States of America.
What do you mean it is?
No.
The Supreme Court says it is.
What does it say it is?
The Supreme Court says that if we were at the age of 18, we were supposed to claim our minor status.
Nope, not valid.
Okay.
So here's what I would say to you. Mr. Dagger Markosian is, like most of our public defenders, exceptional attorneys and very well versed in the law and very experienced. He gives legal advice. You may not like the legal advice, but it's usually good advice. I've never had anyone from the public defender's office not wholeheartedly try to represent their clients. So what you are talking about is not valid, and it is not going to get you out of this case. You're not going to be able to say all those things because it's not valid.
Everyone involved in this court case has a financial interest in the case. I
don't have a financial interest in your case. I get paid by the state of Michigan, whether you plead, whether it gets dismissed. I don't make any money off you. We have budgets. The court system is not a profit generating revenue. We are here to represent people so that people who are charged with crimes are protected. People who are victims of crimes are protected. And that's why we have all these.
In order for there to be a crime, there has to be a victim. There is no.
Well, there is a victim in this case.
The victim would be the company.
You are charged.
I can't face
actually, just hold on. So your crime that you are charged with, which you are innocent as of this time, let me grab the right file, is failure. Oh, this is let me see. This is
Now the real weight of this case hits. These aren't small charges we're talking about, nearly $70,000 in embezzlement and additional felony counts tied to computer use. That's potentially up to 25 years in prison. And yet, he's still focused on arguments that won't even be considered in court. This is where it gets genuinely concerning. Is this confidence or a complete misunderstanding of what's at stake?
Embezzlement charge. So you are charged in count one with embezzlement 50,000 or more, but less than 100,000. That being an agent, servant, or employee of Hardwoods of Michigan Industries did convert to your own use without the consent of your employer or principal industrial tools and equipment in the amount of $68,938.40 or money or equipment. And that's a 15-year felony. So if you are found guilty by a jury, you can go to prison for up to 15 years. You're charged in count two with using a computer to commit a crime. To facilitate the charge in count one, that carries a maximum penalty of up to 10 years in prison. And the way the statute is set up, I can actually stack those possibly. So you potentially could be looking at up to 25 years in prison. So the victim that's alleged in this would be that business.
Right, and I can't face that accuser because that business can't get on the stand for me to ask questions, and a third party.
But their representative can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. So I have $189,000 of student loan debt that was forgiven to be a lawyer. You do not. And Mr. Dagger Margosian, Mr. Isaac Sneed, all of the attorneys here went to law school to know the law, and their job is to advise you of the law. So yes, they can. Yes, you can be charged.
Everything, all the laws and statutes that you guys go by
are legal.
Corporations. They're for fictitious.
Still a crime. Still a crime.
But I'm not
still a crime.
Corporation. I'm a living person.
Yep, and that's why you're standing in front of me. If you were dead, the case would be dismissed.
Yeah, the all caps name is dead.
That means nothing. That's not valid. Okay. It's not legal. Right. So, do you want to represent yourself, or do you want to have an attorney to represent you?
This hearing shows exactly what happens when legal reality clashes with misinformation. The judge makes it clear the law applies, the charges are serious, and professional legal help matters. Now the defendant has a choice to make, and that choice could define his future.
I need some time to think.
Okay, so I'm going to set this for another pretrial on March 20th at 8:30 in the morning. And Ms. Adams, could I get a notice of hearing for Mr. Musgrove?
Yes, Judge.